Hey all. Hey, I wanted to one show you. This is my new Shure MV7 mic I'm going to use for podcasts and videos like this. And I'm showing you a few things on my solar production that I've been keeping track of. And so far, so good. I've had some good days. I had my solar panels cleaned for the first time in about 6 months, 5 months maybe. Was installed somewhere October, November, and I'm just having them cleaned yesterday, and I'm planning on doing this again in another 6 months. And just keeping up on it gets a film of dust. It gets windy here. We get the Santa Ana winds, things of that nature. So, but I wanted to show you this chart, and this chart I put together because I put this chart together because I wanted to keep track of to see if what my system says it's producing is what Edison is giving me. This column here is all Edison's tracking. So if I drop over here, let me minimize this real quick. I'll bring up, now this is the SolarEdge monitoring, and you can see that, if I went up to, this is the chart I used to get, and that shows you self-consumption, which typically matches on both sides. But this is what I wanted to do, was export and import rather than having to export to a CSV and then importing it in and keeping and running calculations on it. But if you go to today, let's see if I go to today, you can clearly see it's broken. I'm not getting a breakdown. It just says system production, doesn't give me much more than that. And this is even wrong because this should not be self-consumption. I'm not consuming everything I'm producing. Obviously, because it's not showing export. And if you hover over this, you can see what I'm exporting at any given time. It's just the calcs are off. They're working on it. Been working on it about a month now. No fix in sight yet. But so I basically back up a day. I click on export to CSV. And then I come over here and I bring up my spreadsheet. And in my spreadsheet, I have all these charts. So let's say 523. This is what it exports as a CSV. And what I do is I come down here, I do a sum of B2 through B97. Then I divide that by 4 because these are all in 15-minute increments. There's 4 increments per hour, so I want to get breakdown that way. And then I divide by 1,000, and that gives me kilowatts. And then once I get into here, I'm able to get these totals here, like self-consumption, things of that nature. And then I come back over to my main chart over here, and I plug these values in over here. And then once I do that and I get all these values, it shows me a delta. Basically, what does it say I'm pushing back to the grid? And this is what it says I'm pushing back to the grid. Now, if I come over here to what Edison says I'm pushing back to the grid, to keep them honest, of course, it actually says I push back more than 24.27 kilowatts. I'm actually pushing back 24.58, so it's a difference of 0.31. Positive numbers are good. Negative numbers are they're reporting less than what I'm pushing back, but it all averages out in the long run. If you go down here, you see my average is 0.12, and that's pretty doggone accurate. It might just be the time that Edison takes the readings. They may vary from day to day. And then basically I just go to Edison's site, which I can pull up right here. And this just shows my usage. So I have off-peak, which is a certain time of day. This should tell you, yeah, 12 to 8 in the morning and 9 p.m. to, these are kind of like off hours when you're sleeping and going to bed. And then you got super peak, which is typically these are your prime hours. It's 8 to 4. Now you can see on some of these, you hover over it. Come on. Yeah, it'll tell you like -40, -30. So that's at the time during the peak time when the sun's up, what am I pushing back to the grid? So you go to another one, 44. So those are the values I take and I put into the spreadsheet. And then mid-peak, I believe, is like, yeah, it's 4 to 9, which is kind of like dinner time. You can see these tend to be, we have an electric stove and oven, and these vary depending on whether we're getting take-in or cooking. So they'll vary. So anyway, I wanted to show you that. I want to test out this mic a little bit more, and please give me your comments below. And if you have any questions on the calculations, if you're a solar user and you wanted to do your own, put some comments. I'm more than happy to provide a spreadsheet for you. And have a good one.